Hey gang, it's John with another edition of What's Blank Wednesday, and we are back inside visiting with some of the staff. We haven't done this in a while, but it's summertime and a lot of you guys are taking summer vacations, and we've had a couple of our team members here do some pretty interesting things for their summer vacation already in the world of adventuring, and so we thought we'd talk a little bit about what's summer vacation around the house Wednesday. So Thomas and Christian, we'll start with you guys because you were out and about first. Thomas, tell me a little bit about what you did and where you went.
So, and this was kind of like a year in the making. Christian, another guy that works here, Nate, and three other guys, we were planning a trip to go out west to a couple national parks. And it was about in late May we left and we drove out. We stayed in Rocky Mountain National Park, Grand Teton National Park, Glacier National Park, and Yellowstone. And we drove out, camped there, camped at every park. We spent 2 weeks out there. It was still pretty cold. It wasn't summer or anything. It was cold. There was a lot of snow still in a lot of places, but it was really fun.
So commendable, you guys just kind of jumped in a vehicle. And had you guys all done anything like this together before?
I barely even camped before.
Yeah, like that was one of my first times doing really hardcore camping, but I think it was really good. I learned a lot.
Okay. So Christian, how did you guys camp? You took a unique approach to this?
Yeah, so we had 2 cars go out. We had roof tents on both cars, and then we had a 6-person tent for the other 4 guys. And so it was one person on their roof tent, another person on their roof tent, and then the other 4 were actually just in a 6-person tent. The tent had 2 guys on the ground, and then we had a bunk bed in the tent. It was kind of sweet.
It was pretty nice.
But yeah, it went super smooth. We did like a test run in my front driveway of just like trying to camp for a night, and it went fine. It took them like 45 minutes to set up a tent, but they got faster.
So we're going to show some pictures that you guys are going to share with everybody. But what was the highlight of the trip in terms of the places that you went?
Walking into Jenny Lake was super cool. Our campsite was right on Jenny Lake, and you could just see the Teton right in our campsite. And then Glacier 2, Apgar, you walk out on the dock there, and you can just see like all of the park over the lake. And it was just crazy views that we've never seen before.
It was wild. Like, I've been out west a lot, but I've only been skiing out there, and being there during that season, you could really, because we could go up there and go hiking. It was really cool. We got to experience a lot of high alpine environments. We didn't go to the top of any mountains, but we did climb a lot. Like, we went to some pretty high areas. Like, the highest we climbed was a place called Amphitheater Lake in Grand Teton. I think it was like a 3,000 vert day. It was like 8-hour round trip. It was wild because once you got up to the top, the snow was melting, but it was like 15 feet deep. So we were losing legs when we were climbing up, but it was amazing. I think Grand Teton and Glacier both are our favorite parks. Yeah.
Anything epic failures of any type along the way, or things that didn't go as planned?
Deciding to drive through Yellowstone was an epic failure. There's tourists everywhere stopping in the middle of the road and taking pictures of deer. And I'm like, I have deer in my backyard. I don't need to stop and see these.
Yeah, that was.
We saw some people really close to animals they shouldn't have been close to. And we went to Old Faithful on a very overcast day, so when the geyser went off, we just couldn't see any of it. It just blended right in with the clouds behind it. So Yellowstone was not our favorite park, and it rained a lot there. But we met some cool people there. It was overall a good trip.
Thomas, what's your favorite piece of gear that you used on the trip?
Favorite piece of gear I used was probably my sleeping bag. It was a Nemo Disco 15 degree. It kept me, I was never cold once that entire trip when I was sleeping. Even during the nights in Yellowstone when the tent would literally glaze over with ice, I was fine.
Awesome.
I was really happy with it.
I'd have to say the Thule Tepui Air roof tent. Such a good roof tent. I'd pop that open before the guys would set up their tents. I'd be all ready to go. And you can just leave your sleeping bag, sleeping pad in there. You don't have to pack anything up really. You just fold it up and zip on the cover. It was so nice just like having camp set up right away.
Well, we enjoyed watching them gear up for that trip and plan that trip. They kind of did it on the fly, and it sounds like it came off really good. So.
Oh yeah, no hiccups anywhere.
That was the wildest part. It was our first time ever doing something like this, and it went off without a hitch. We had almost no issues. We had one issue, and Christian didn't even get to experience it. He was sleeping when it happened. It was in Glacier, and we decided not to put the rain fly on our tent one night, and it was the first night we got there, and it was like at 3 in the morning. We all got woken up by like a downpour, and we all had to like jump up like firemen and put the rain cover on. We did it in like 3 minutes. Dude, that was the closest thing to a fail.
I was just in my roof tent, sound asleep.
Yeah, probably comfy.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing, and we loved hearing the stories. So, Michael, you just got back from actually pretty adventurous vacation. Of all places, it was to where?
To Southern Illinois. So basically
Excuse me
we're
for laughing.
right. It's not as exciting as somebody says Glacier, Yellowstone, Teton, but a place that after visiting there I would highly recommend anybody in this area to go to. 7 to 8 hour drive. There were so many things to see within a short radius of where we stayed. We had a lakeside VRBO that we rented, and that was our base of operations for the whole week. And there's a ton of state parks, hiking trails within 30 minutes to an hour from there.
So does this region have a name, like, Devil's Lake in Wisconsin, or?
The general little pods here and there is called the Shawnee National Forest. And
Is there a city or something like that?
there's not a whole lot of cities down there. Marion, Illinois would be the one that would be the city. It's got a Walmart. So it's got a Walmart. It must be the hub of the universe down there.
And how did you find this place? Like, it's not on my radar.
No, we looked at. I always knew there was Hocking Hills in Ohio. I always thought the geology, topography, and all that stuff looked cool. I've just heard a lot of stories that it's insanely busy, especially in the summer months. Probably closer to metropolitan areas. So figured. Somehow I found out that there was some similar geography or geology, rock features in here, and most of the things said it's very slow pace because there isn't any big. St. Louis is 2 hours away, and Chicago is on the complete north end of the state, and it was just very quiet. It was the perfect place to just get away and to see a lot of things. You go into these state park parking lots, and there's one. If there's 50 spots, 5 cars are there, and the trails were great. There were so many different things to see.
So highlight, what was the favorite? Well, first of all, who all went? You travel with a group, right?
So my wife and I and our 6 kids. So we, like I say, the place we had on the lake, slept all 8 of us very comfortably, right on the water. The kids had a ride because they had kayaks, pedal boat, the floating lily pad, a nice dock they can jump off of, and.
But almost every day you went to someplace different, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I budget for time to have the lake fun, and I budgeted a whole day to stay at the lake. But when we're down there, I have a schedule, and I want to see these things that we don't have these features and destinations.
So I know
in
you
Michigan.
like rocks and hiking and the rest of it. How did the kids like that kind of stuff? And was there one spot in particular that they really enjoyed?
The one that they liked the most was called Garden of the Gods, which I think if you Google that, you're going to pull up a Garden of the Gods in about
Colorado.
12 different states, But it's down Southern Illinois, and the kids felt like they were just mountain goats. They were climbing over these rocks, Some of them scared the living daylights out of me where they got to. I'm like, how are you going to get back to me? But if you ever are down there, Garden of the Gods, they thought was an amazing place. They had free reign to just leave the trail and climb on these rocks, these boulders, and do all this stuff. But another place that the kids, maybe the way I propped it up is, the way I delivered it to them was Cave in Rock State Park. And again, Southern Illinois, right along the Ohio River, almost towards Indiana-Kentucky border there. And you go down here, and it is a giant cave in the side of the rock face along the Ohio River. And it's probably 300 feet deep that you can go into, and it's 40 foot high, wide. You can just walk in there, and there's etchings from 100 plus years ago.
Oh, really?
In there. And there's some on the ceiling, you just go, how did they do that if it's 40 feet above my head? But there's been various floods. I think in 2011 they had a flood that you probably could have just taken a small rowboat and reached to the ceiling and asked your name, because they had a historical flooding in 2011. But the kids thought it was the coolest thing to just be free to go into this cave. Because we've gone to Mammoth Caves and other ones, but they're cool, but you're on a guided tour and you have to stay on this path. And they could just kind of go anywhere and everywhere in there, and they thought it was one of the greatest things. And it has some history too, that I guess 150, 200 years ago, certain people on the river would hide from, maybe for their safety from Native Americans, or even later years from law enforcement, that they would go and use this.
Bootlegging, that kind of stuff.
And I kind of maybe made it sound like it was, pirates or this or that, but the kids thought it was one of the coolest things they've ever been to.
So it's tough to take a big family and do like a super adventurous trip and to travel long distances like these guys did.
Yeah.
But you guys found pretty close to home some pretty neat stuff, and it was new to me, and I think your pictures will show that the place is pretty cool also. Did you have one piece of gear that was used a lot that week that you like?
Not a whole lot of stuff, because it was mostly, loaded up the car, got to the place, and it was a full kitchen there. But the most indispensable thing is my soft-sided Yeti backpack cooler that could fit in the car easy and held all of our, because we tried to save money and do picnic lunches every day, because you're going by state parks all the time and picnic areas, and it's enough to keep, it's perfect for keeping the cold foods cold and all that stuff. So
Well, good old Yeti saves the day again. And what did you guys do for food?
It depended. If we were on the road, we'd stop somewhere. But when we were on the campsites, we met some people in Yellowstone, did a burger night. That was really fun.
Okay.
We just had a campfire, and I cooked up burgers on the grill. Some brats, some hot dogs. And then
Did
we
you stop
had
at grocery stores and get your groceries? And
when on our way into parks, and then we had some of the bagged camp foods that if we were in a pinch, we'd just cook those up. But some ramen some nights, ramen and chicken. We did. Chicken Alfredo one night.
I had way too much ramen on that trip.
I can't imagine how much food 6 guys
Oh
my gosh.
And everyone goes to the gym too, so everyone's just burning calories like crazy. So we ate a lot, but when we got home, we weighed ourselves. One of our friends lost 7 pounds. Nate, that works here, lost 7 pounds on the trip. And we ate like champs.
Eat all the time, yeah. And as people who backpack quite a bit know, that's pretty common to go out and you're cinching your belt by the end of the week, so no matter how much you eat. So, well, we appreciate you guys sharing your stories and adventures. I know that all 3 of you have some wonderful things that you learned and are sharing with our customers now. And we look forward to hearing what you guys are going to be doing. A lot of you come in and get geared up, and we get inspired by your trip. So if you've got someplace cool, share it with us. And if you're off and about on an adventure, enjoy it, be safe, and we will